Come on in, Facebook. Come on in. 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 Well, this is the day that the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. I'm your host, Apostle Dr. Sylvester Paul Brinson III, Dean of the Brinson Connection. Welcome today to the Brinson Connection, each week at the same time, every Wednesday at 2 o'clock Central Standard Time, coming from the metropolitan area of Chicago, Illinois, the state in the United States of America. You, my brothers and sisters all over the world, we celebrate and invite you to share with us on today from our Sunday school lesson and our discussion. We had a great time earlier today on our Sunday school lesson. I want to share some excerpts from the lesson. The reading part of the lesson, I want to take some time out and read it so that we can get into discussion. You know, this is the first of the year, and to put a date stamp on this presentation, this would be like the third week of January 2023. And so as we enter 2023, in our churches, in our communities, in our religious areas, we have what is being discussed in our religious rituals, fasting, the Daniel fast, and certain other people fast for different other reasons. They have different names of their fasts in certain seasons. But I particularly was thinking about that for those in the Christian church who have ritualistically determined that January, in the month of January, they're going to do a 21-day fast. And I do that, and then we kind of move forward out of that, because we begin to look at that. One of my experiences, I would just tell this story to others come on in. When I was pastoring one year, we were doing the Daniel fast. So some of the nutritionists said, "Well, Apostle Brinson, you're not doing it right. There's a way you go on a fast and a way you come off a fast and what you do while on the fast." So I had some of them to come to our church and talk about it, and we shared alternative, well, I don't want to say alternative. We shared menus that would be appropriate for what we call the Daniel fast, and went through it 21 days. As prescribed, what to eat, what not to eat, and all of that. And so the following week, what happened was that I had a testimony service that next week. Those who went on the 21-day Daniel fast, that was supposed to do something for you spiritually, mentally, and physically. Share your testimony. Tell us your stories. Wow. The variety of stories that we listen to, the mental clarity, spiritual upgrade and toning and physical adjustments from 21 days. One sister got up and one sister got up and said, well, she had dealt with eczema, skin issues, and when she went on a 21-day diet fast, her skin cleared up. A couple others got on and got up and said, well, I had a problem with caffeine. I wasn't an alcoholic, I was a coffeeholic, and I had to have my coffee every day. I had to have this urge was with me. But I went on a Daniel fast. It took me about a week or two, about a week and a couple of days to kind of get off. But as I got off of it, I was clearer, I was stronger, my mind was clearer, my thoughts and the urge went away. And so we had so many testimonies about the Daniel fast. that I determined on that year that that was going to be my last moving our congregation to a 21-day Daniel fast. And that I would challenge my congregation to take the principles of the quote unquote Daniel fast, incorporate it into their daily lives. And that every week, for the rest of the years and the years to come, that they would take certain principles from the Daniel fast and apply it to a life change lifestyle of eating, a life change, a lifestyle of being sensitive to God and meditating on God and understanding themselves and having some time of quietness and stillness, all of those principles. I asked them to take those principles and move it throughout the year and then come back the following year in January and tell me what were their testimonies. After doing that, we had people who had strong testimonies of growth and maturity and healing, holistic healing, mental, physical, and spiritual, all kinds of issues, depression and frustrations gone. Then we had others, well, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Well, that was their option. We didn't want to put a yoke on a person. So we was able to grow from that experience and move our congregation to another level. So I thought about the Daniel fast, and it's nothing wrong with it for those who want to do it. My only concern is if you do a 21-day Daniel fast, after that, and then what? So whatever the Daniel fast accomplished, or what is the Daniel fast? Or what is fasting? And what did it accomplish? And where are you now after 21 days? So what happens in February and March? What about June and July? What about October? What is it that then? And so I began to take a look at it. We call it the Daniel fast. And so I looked at the Daniel fast concept and realized that Daniel went on this fast to abstain from the good stuff because he had determined in his mind, one, that he needed to hear from his God. Number two, he needed to intercede to his God, and he to stand in the gap for his people who were unrighteous and repent, and also seek God for his promise that they would be in Babylon for 70 years and then they would come out. So he decided to posture himself to seek God. And then out of that, in that process of fasting, determined not to eat the meats and the delicacies of what he enjoyed in order to move into a penance. I'm going to punish or go into penance to fast. And so that's what I want to talk about today, because what is fasting, and how do we see ourselves in fasting and prayer? Do we get it right? Do we have a biblical understanding of fasting? Do we have a clear theological fortitude on the principles of fasting? Or are we helter-skelter with bits and pieces from different traditions and denominational groups and religious groups, a hodgepodge? Well, I'm fasting for more power. Well, is that in the biblical text, a fast for more power? Well, I'm fasting for power. I thought you received power after that the Holy Ghost was coming upon you. So we had all kind of discussions today in our classes. It was certainly interesting to hear the responses. And so I wanted to, since our Sunday school lesson, those who are continuously to follow us in the International Sunday School lesson this coming Sunday, which will be January the 22nd, the lesson is God Promises Light in the Darkness. And so I want to read bits and pieces of the passage of Isaiah chapter 58, verse 6 through 10, to sort of set the stage for our discussion today. to understand the fast that God has chosen. What is the fast that God has chosen? Now we've chosen fast. Nothing, don't get me wrong, nothing wrong with fast. Fasting is good. Fasting is healthy. Yes, it is. Mental, spiritual, the succession of things. I am not coming against fasting. I just want to present some concepts of fasting, because most people, when they think about fasting, really they run and think about the first of the year, opening up with a Daniel fast, and some of them cheat doing that. They cheat. Their mind is, oh, I can't eat this. What can I eat? Can I eat this? Can I eat that? Well, I'll sneak a piece of this and I speak of this piece of that. So, but do they see fasting as a part of worship? Those that are watching me, hit your share button, hit your share button, hit your share button, hit your share button. That's right, hit your share button. Give me some thumbs up. So let me read this passage of scripture from Isaiah chapter 58, verse 6. Is not this the fast that I have chosen, to loose the bands of wickedness, to undo the heavy burden, and to let the oppressed go free, and that ye break every yoke? Now, the prophet is speaking in the minds and absence, and he's speaking for God, and he's asking a question to a nation of people that are caught up in evil and unrighteous stuff. All kinds of things is happening in their lives and their communities, but yet at the same time, ritualistically, they would fast to say, this helps me to be religious. I need to do right. So I'm going to fast some of my stuff away. I'm going to fast against candy. I'm not going to eat popcorn. You know, I love me some chocolate, so I'm not going to eat my chocolate. You know, we do that also. You know, we do that around another part of the year. You know, when we go to Lent, what you giving it for Lent? Well, you know, I love cookies, so I'm not having no cookies for Lent. But you can't wait till them 40 days of Lent is over, boy. You didn't bought you some cookies, got it on stack, waiting. Come on now. You know that. Boy, I'm going to give up hamburgers. And then, oh, boy, you struggle with your hamburgers. As soon as your 40 days is up, or your 21 days, your 3 days, your 5 days, boy, you first in line at the hamburger joint. So now, hey, I'm just bringing some things up. Some of y'all saying, ooh, Brinson, ouch, man, that's me. Okay. Well, let's go back. And I want to read Isaiah 58 again, verse 6. It says, is not this the fast I have chosen? Now, you chose the fast. You chose it. You chose Daniel fast. You know, whatever I'm gonna do, we're gonna do a 3-day fast, a 2-day fast one day. There's no problem. But they get God. Let's look at the fast God chooses. And then when we go on, can we come up with an agreement? If we really get clarification of the fast, the kind of fast that God chooses, then from now on, from this day forward, being given this information every time you set up a setup to fast, however long, whatever you want to call it, that you take into consideration these principles of a God-chosen fast. How about that? How about that? Do your 21 day. If you're going to do the 21 day, get in. Okay. You're going to do the 21 day Daniel fast, you know. And my people, humble themselves in prayer and seek my face and fast. You're going to fast. They didn't say fast, but you're going to fast. Some of y'all fast 40 days, 3 days, fast 1 minute, fast 24 hours. The Day of Atonement was a 24-hour day of fast. Some of the other religious groups, they have Ramadan, and other religious groups fast for reasons, for purification, for other things. So I'm not coming against that. No. I am not coming. But let's come up with an agreement. From this day forward, whatever fast I decide to go on, I'm going to make sure that the principles of that fast, and while I am fasting, is in conjunction with God's ordained, prescribed fast from the biblical text that he ordained and prescribed for the children of Israel in their state. Okay, so now can we read it again now? Is not this the fast I have chosen? So now, the writer is also writing in parallel. So let's look at it. Is not is asking the question but giving the answer at the same time. Is not this the fast that I have chosen? Let me tell you about the fast I've chosen. Because is this the fast I've chosen? Think about the fast you on. Is that the fast that the principles of the fast you on and what you do and how you do? Is that what God has chosen? Is that a God chosen fast? To loose the bands of wickedness, to undo the heavy burdens, and to let the oppressed go free, and that ye break every yoke. Are those principles included in the fast? And so God, through the prophet Isaiah, said, now, I just want to know that the fast that you on, that's God ordained, there's some reasons behind that. Now, let's look at it. Number one, to loose the bands of wickedness. That's a reason. To loose the bands of wickedness. Number one. To undo the heavy burdens, plural. Number two, and to let the oppressed go free. Number three, and that ye break every yoke. Now, in this list, I didn't see none that you couldn't eat, couldn't do. Now, in this list, it's proactive. In fact, in this particular list, it's something that you're supposed to be doing. It's a lifestyle. The fast is a lifestyle. Some things you should be involved in. Some things, Brother Jay, Pastor Adjutant General, Apostle Virgil Jones, there's some things that should be done. Stacy Seaberry, God bless you. There's some things, those that are watching, hit your share button, hit your share button, hit your share button. I want to talk about it. So if I'm going to do my Daniel fast, I'm going to do a fast period. While in the fast, as a result of the fast, these things should be occurring. The bands of wickedness around me that I'm in and participating in or around should be loosed. There should be a loosing of that. Number one. Number two, heavy burdens should be undone. Don't keep putting burdens on for while but I'm fasting, but you just, that you let the oppressed go free. How many people in the church know that you going on your Daniel fast? You just oppressed today. This is your fourth day, your fifth day, whatever day. You just so oppressed. Oh, Apostle Branson, I'm so upset. But you on the Daniel fast. God ordained fast supposed to say, now your oppression and all this stuff, we got to get rid of. Some things got to be happening here. That you break every yoke. Who you tied to and yoked up in and got you all frustrated. That's what Isaiah is telling the children of Israel. Now listen again. He said, is it not to deal thy bread to the hungry? Well, I mean, part of this fast, you should be giving some bread to the hungry. And that thou bring the poor that are cast out in thy house, that you bring people in for shelter. When thou seest the naked, that thou cover him, and that thou hide not thyself from thine own flesh. That means that you're not related to family. Hide thyself from thy own flesh. Back in those days, they didn't have a whole lot of things like we have now. They didn't have all these games and activities. The only thing they really had to support each other was their family, their clan. And life was all around the family and the clan. He said, well, now you hide. You can't get along with nobody in your family, nobody in your clan. You in isolation. I didn't call you on a fast to go to do that. Then shall thy lights break forth in as the morning. So if you doing what you're supposed to do, if you are giving bread to the hungry and the poor that is cast out, you bringing them into thy house or the shelter. When you see people that are naked, you are covering them with their basic needs, and you are relational to your family or to the people you related to. You have relationships. Then shall thy light break forth in the morning, and thy health shall spring forth speedily. Some of y'all ain't healthy. No, you ain't. You ain't healthy because your life is jacked up. You oppressed. You frustrated. All your mental, physical, spiritual stuff is all tied into one. He said, then shall your health spring forth speedily, and thy righteousness shall go before thee. The glory of the Lord shall be thy reward. God's glory is your reward when you fast according to his prescription. Then thou shalt call, and the Lord shall answer thee. You are called on the Lord to answer. How many of you been called on the Lord and ain't got no answer yet, but you fast and girl, died? Okay, so those on the 21-day fast, Sister Florida, hey, Francine, you calling on the Lord. Did he answer while you on your Daniel fast or you on your fast? Did he answer? Then you shall call. Not only something, he said, it's all right, you shall cry. You can cry. It ain't nothing wrong with crying. Some of y'all been crying forever crying. It's still like, all this crying don't do me no help. I call, I pray, Prince, and I call, and they ain't even helping me. He said, no. It said, then shalt thou call, and the Lord shall answer. Thou shalt cry, and he shall say, here I am. What? You shall cry, and he shall say? You shall call, he shall say? That means you got to hear him. If he say, he shall say, that means I heard him. I called on the Lord. I called on the Lord. I cried to him. I heard him. He said, here I am. What you want? What you want? Ain't nothing like hearing from God's respond. Hey, somebody say, for 3 years I've been calling on me. Hey, have you heard? He said, here I am, Virgil. What you want? What you want? What you want? If you fast through my principles, what you want? Here I am. He said, if thou take away, and then he said, if thou take away from the midst of thee the yoke. Some things you got yourself yoked in. Certain things you put other people on. Take away everything from you that got other folk tied up. You take away stuff. Come on now. That's what sometimes God will give a person regeneration, bring them back up alive, raise them from the dead, give them excitement in their life, and they can't really live their lives because you got them wrapped up and tied up with your yokes. Well, Brenson, what you mean by, well, let's go to the biblical narrative. We talk about Lazarus come forward. He called him by his name, and he came bound hand and foot with grave clothes. Stuff around his eyes he couldn't see. And what did Jesus say to the people? Loose him and let him go. Some of us have been transformed by the power of the anointing of the Holy Ghost, but yet got yokes around our necks from people, places, and things. Or some of you all that I'm talking to are the main ones that got people yoked up, beholding to you. Oh, come on now. You big mama woo woo, you big daddy woo woo, you auntie dude, you all that can hear from God and everybody else can't. No. You need to break the yoke off people. All this stuff. Come on now. We grew up in these churches where we were scared of folk. Spiritual abuse on folk. You can't do this. You can't wear that. You can't do this. Can't do that. Walk around. No, you need to get yourself together and take some yokes off for those people. But I found out that a lot of people that put people under yoke, they yoke themselves in the wrong thing. So it says, here I am. If thou take away from the midst of thee the yoke. Take it away. And the putting forth of the finger. Oh, you pointing your finger at people? Oh, you on the Daniel fast, but you still pointing your finger at folk. Oh, wow, you on your other fast, whatever fast. Well, I fast every Tuesday. Just as mean as you. I fast every Friday. I don't do a 24-hour fast. I fast 4 days. I fast breakfast, and I don't fast. I get up at 6, and I don't eat until 12. That's a fast. Okay. But still, why you pointing the finger? Who you pointing the finger at? It said, from the midst of thee thy yoke, the putting forth of the finger and speaking vanity. That means telling lies, lying on folk, gossiping. What? Yep. So let me read the text. Thou shalt then call, and the Lord shall answer. Thou shalt cry, and he shall say, here am I. If thou take away from the midst of thee the yoke, the putting forth of the finger, and speaking vanities, lies. And if thou draw out thy soul to the hungry, and if thou draw out thy soul to the hungry, and satisfy the afflicted soul. Then shall thy light rise in obscurity, and their darkness be as the noonday. Now, let me say something about that. In the text, the 10th verse, we're in the 58th chapter of Isaiah, talking about the fast, God ordained fast. It said, now if thou draw out thy soul to the hungry. People will give hungry people food, but they ain't related to them. They don't know. Ain't no emotion, ain't no passion. No, you just can't get, well, I'm helping folk. I'm giving, I'm feeding the hungry, clothes, and naked. Just mean and evil. Just come on and get it. No. I want you to connect to them. I want you to soul. See, I want you to have a soul tie. All soul ties ain't negative. I want you to see and feel. I want you to have some emotion with what you do. You don't come smile. Make people feel like they want it. And like they're, hey, come on. It said, and if thou draw out thy soul to the hungry and satisfy the afflicted soul, you don't know what people go through. Well, Brisson, they homeless. Why are they homeless? You don't know what they went through to be homeless. Some of them got a better education than you. Some things happen, things occur. So that means you need to start finding out the whys people have what they are, and start dealing with social justice and dealing with some of the issues and the systems that causes these things, and speaking up and becoming active, not only to feed hungry people, but to deal with why they're hungry, what causes hunger. Start dealing with economic stuff and political and social stuff. Why are people like they are? Do you have a sense? Most of us, a lot of us don't. We walk around aloof, pointing the fingers, talking vanity, all into ourselves until they knock on our door. So our son, our daughter, our wife, our brother, our sister, our friend, our co-worker, then all of a sudden, you're going to join MAD, Mothers Against Alcohol Drivers. Before that, you drank your stuff, but you ain't mad yet until it happened to you. You didn't know it was true till it happened to you. Don't have to necessarily happen to you. Can you listen to people in the community? Can you look at certain people that have yokes? Can you move toward making sure that their yoke has been brought against them? This is the fast. So now that I've kind of explained it, now let me go back and read the text again smoothly without interruption. Then I want to move forward. So those of you that with me that have your Bibles or whatever, turn to Isaiah 58, 6 through 10. I'm going to read from the King James Version again without interruption, because I was just talking about, the Daniel fast. We start out the first year with 21 days, and then after that we move somewhere else. Then we have fasts throughout the year. Some do 3-day fasts, some do 7 days, some do 40 days, some do a half a day, some do 5 hours. There's nothing wrong with that. I want to come back on and say it is nothing wrong with that fasting. It's good for you. Mental, spiritual, physical. Some of you all need mental fast. Some need spiritual fast. Some need physical. Some of us, we need to be holistic in our fast. Mental, spiritual, and physical. Holistic. May the God of peace sanctify you wholly, both spirit, soul, and body. We're connected. We tripod. We got 3 of us, body, soul, and spirit. And some of our physical stuff, you know what? A dis-ease. I say it all the time. Dis-ease. D-I-S-E-A-S-E. D-I-S-E-A-S-E. Ease. Dis-ease is a disease. Disease, D-I-S-E-A-S-E. That's how you spell disease. D-I-S-E-A-S-E is disease. Dis-ease is D-I-S-E-A-S-E. Any dis-ease of the mind affects you in your body and in your spirit. Any dis-ease of the spirit affects your mind and your body. So the body that you live in can be affected with a disease from a mental, physical, mental or spiritual dis-ease. Mental and spiritual dis-eases cause physical diseases. Well, Prince, that sounds like psychosomatic. Well, as a person thinking in their heart, so are they. Your thought life, how you think, also has a physical connection to that. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Some of you all got some asthma. Asthma comes out of anxiety. Some of you, look at some of your diseases. There's a book out on, for those of you that want to read more about it, get Henry Wright. Henry Wright, Right. Look it up on Amazon. A More Excellent Way. KK, God bless you. A More Excellent Way. A More Excellent Way by Henry Wright. He deals with the spiritual roots of diseases. He lays out all of these diseases of the body. He tells you what the medical start is. And then he tells you what the mental, spiritual side is. You know? Yeah. All right, Elder Marvin, God bless you too. So he says what? Proverbs says, jealousy rots the bones. Guess what? Those of you that deal with, you deal with problems in your bone structure. You bent over, you got arthritis, you got stuff with your bones, then you need to begin to do inventory on yourself and find out where your jealousy is. Jealousy rots the bones. That child, okay. There's other people dealing with asthma. Asthma is a caused by anxiety, frustration, and anxiety all the time. Just, when you under a lot of stuff, after a while, it starts affecting you physically. Sometimes you go to the doctor and say, I don't know what's wrong with you. Yes, you do. Your environment, how you think, what you talk about. So, when you getting ready to go on the 21-day fast, so those of you that's on this fast that you call the Daniel fast, when you come off, I want to know, are you better? Did God do something for you? Because if he did, then why come off in 21 days? Why not take the themes and the principles of the 21-day Daniel fast and extend it to the other months of the year? Try it this time. Okay, let's do this. Those of you that's on this 21-day fast, the principles, some things you didn't eat, some things you did eat, and some things you didn't even have in your diet. So what I want you to do after the 21-day Daniel fast, some of the principles of your eating styles, I want you to incorporate every week. Maybe one day just eat salads. Monday, eat salads. Thursday, eat soup, drink soup to salad, fresh fruits. And, you can still have your little meat. But I bet you if you take the 21-day Daniel fast and stretch it out for a couple of weeks and then make it for your regular lifestyle, I bet you'll find yourself in a better way, mental and spiritual. So Isaiah chapter 58 says, now let me read it again without interruption so you can get the flow, since I did explain it piece by piece in exegesis. Now let me read it again so now that you can hear it holistically. Let me read it one more time. Isaiah 58, 6-10. Is not this the fast that I have chosen? To loose the bands of wickedness, to undo the heavy burdens, and to let the oppressed go free, and that ye break every yoke? Is it not to deal thy bread to the hungry, and that thou bring the poor that are cast out of thy house? When thou seest the naked, and thou cover him or her, and that thou hide not thyself from thy own flesh, then shall thy light break forth as the morning, and thine help shall spring forth speedily, and thy righteousness shall go before thee. The glory of the Lord shall be thy reward. Then shalt thou call, and the Lord shall answer. Thou shalt cry, and he shall say, Here I am. If thou take away from the midst of thee the yoke, and the pointing forth of the finger, and speaking vanities, and if thou draw out thy soul to the hungry, and satisfy the afflicted soul with, then shall thy light rise in obscurity, and thy darkness be as the noonday. You can leave. And so, hey, when you start doing that, it said your light is going to come forth, because people in darkness is also sensitivity about negativity. So people that live in darkness in the text, anytime there's darkness, it's about not understanding. When you talk about light, it's about I understand. I understand now because I have been, enlightened. So light, then shall your light come forth. When you start doing those things, you should start getting information. Now I better understand. I understand why this person is homeless. I understand why this is happening. I understand why all this is a part of a fast. So in this text, it gives us a list of things to do. In the last part of the text, it says the things don't do. Don't point the finger. Don't have people yoked up. Don't be talking vanity and lying and gossiping. Don't do that, but do the others. That's something. That's something. I need you to think about this. Some of you all that's listening to me, hit that share button. Come on, hit that share button. Give me a thumbs up. Let me make sure you understand what I'm talking about. Branson, you talking today? Okay, well, tell me something. Hit the share button. Bring some more people in. I want to take a look at that. So here it is. So the question then that we need to be looking at is, I want to deal with that real question from the biblical narrative and ask the question then, well, what is a fast? I talked about it before. So, we asked the question, what is a fast? Well, what is fasting? What is fasting? So what is fasting? So, in our Sunday school commentary, we talking, and so let me read from the commentary. So, Branson, no. Let's see what they have to say about fasting. Let me read a part of what is fasting. When the Bible refers to fasting, it refers to abstaining from food and drink for a specific period. The Day of Atonement established the precedent for a 24-hour period. The Day of Atonement, you wouldn't eat for 24 hours. Fasting is designed to humble us and help us draw closer to God. Okay, let me say that again. Fasting is designed, why fast? It's designed to humble us and to help us, to teach us and help us how to draw closer to God. I want to hear him. We're so busy. What is God saying? What did you hear anything from God? You so busy talking. You so busy. No, get still now. Fasting help us and teach us how, and it's designed to humble us and help us draw closer to God. It is not a form of penitence where you got to pay something. It's not a form of penance or a way to obtain favor with God through self-imposed suffering. Well, if I don't do this and don't do that, God will love me. If I don't do this and do this and do this, God will... No. That's not what fasting is about. Fasting is not doing something to yourself and not letting yourself eat stuff, enjoy stuff to get God's favor. No. Fasting is a way that we worship God. So here in this lesson, the prophet is dealing with God explaining the kind of worship and fasting that is acceptable to him. So we're gonna add something to fasting. Worship. Worship is celebrating, acknowledging God. All right. So Pierre, worshiping is accepting and acknowledging God. So today's lesson we're talking about is God said, is this the fast that I've chosen? Did I choose a 21-day fast? Did I choose this fast, that fast? Whatever fast you've chosen, I'm going. For those who's coming on late, I still need you in your fast, whether it's the Daniel fast, a week fast, Ramadan, whatever you say, 40-day fast, 7-day fast, 6-hour fast. I want you to understand the principle of the fast. God's chosen fast has principles. So when you decide to choose a type of fast, then you need to include within that fast that you chose God's chosen fast prescription, so that all of your fasting should include God's choice of why you should fast, to break every yoke, to set. Hey, come on now. So let's look at it. And so therefore, we must be exposed to worship. The people got to practice not only the fasting, but the worship component of that. So the prophet, asked the question that God desired the words, is not this the fast I have chosen? God asked the question in Isaiah 58 verse 6, is this the fast I've chosen? The fast you chose that you own even as the beginning of this year, is that the fast God has chosen? So what? Nothing wrong with your fast, but in your fast, will you do the things and make sure that there are some things that God has chosen in his fast, that everything God has chosen in his fast is in your fast? Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. And so he says now, so that means it's important to note that Isaiah nor the Lord was criticizing fasting. I'm gonna get there. We're not criticizing fasting. Let me say that out. But we are critical of empty religious rituals. Empty religious ritual. No, you in a ritual. Come on, I'm not criticizing your Daniel fast. I'm not criticizing your 7-day fast, your 40-day fast, your whatever fast. I'm asking you, is that fast you own a ritual, a religious ritual? Or does it include the principles of the fast that God said he ordained? Is this the fast that I ordained? So go ahead and fast. So set up your fasting. Whatever fasting you're going to be doing, but within the fasting modality, make sure inclusive in the fasting process are certain principles of life and living and worship that you understand. So this is what Isaiah 58 is talking about. And so now let's look at it. God wants a fast worship, FAST/worship. Worship, fast worship. So I'm proposing that the fast that God has chosen to break every yoke is a fast/worship. That is accompanied by the following. I'm going to give you 6 steps, 6 things that Isaiah 58 talks about in this God-given fast. And whatever fast you doing, there should be 6 things that should be clear, at least that you are mindful of. Number 1, the loosing of shackles and bonds of the wicked. That's Isaiah said. Isn't this the fast that I have chosen to loose the bands of wickedness, to undo heavy burdens, and to let oppressed go free, that ye break every yoke? Okay, so number 1, there has to be some loosing of shackles and bands of wickedness. Now, I'm not going to call no nation and get in trouble and don't put me off Facebook. But I'm just kind of, how can people, enslave folk, oppress folk, slave trade folk, slave traffic folks, deal with souls and blood and bodies and death and all that kind of stuff, and yet at the same time dare to profess that they believe in the existence of God and they are doing fasting. They're doing fasting. They on their 21 they're doing fasting, but they got people in shackles and bonds. They got people psyched up. They holding on to folk. They got folks saying, Captain, may I? You got certain people got these personalities where they hold you in captivity. They got you shackled into the relationship. So who's that? So you can't do that while you can't carry out that. Number 1. Number 2, the lifting of the yoke of oppression. We got to make sure that God's against the very nature of anybody, a group of people who is illegally oppressed and burdened with oppressive rules and regulations that is not desired or designed for leading a spirit-filled, balanced life of righteous living. So then if God is talking about you best worship me in spirit and truth, true worship involves establishing freedom for those suffering injustice, oppression or bondage. We must command freedom to those who have been oppressed, to break yokes that blind folk that don't see, blind psychologically, mentally blinded to issues and circumstances. They got to see now. Now you on a fast, make sure that you on a fast, stuff like that. Get into some situations of organizations, open up your mouth, make yourself be heard, because you on a fast now. You on a fast, and on your fast, some of these things you got to be making sure in your life and other lives are being changed by a fast. Oppressive impoverishment. All of these yokes have to be lifted off people, changing laws and all this stuff. You got to have some, that's got to be lifted. If you on a fast, what are you doing? Preston, I'm on the Daniel fast this month. Oh, okay. Fine with me. So what have you done in the community? What are you doing? What's your attitude? Why are you on? Oh, I just know that I can't have no popcorn. I just got a taste for a steak today. I can't have my coffee. Oh, no. You on your fast. You on your show. No, if you going to be on a fast, make sure that on this fast, while your life. So actually fasting and worship is a lifestyle as well as a lifestyle. So now let me look at it. That's number one. So number one is losing of the shackles and bonds of wickedness. Number one. Number two, the lifting of the yoke of oppression. Number three, feeding the hungry. Now, not only feeding the hungry, finding out and dealing with the distress conditions that cause hunger. Child, we gonna give out 40 baskets and fight, but you never sit up at a workshop or seminar or deal what causes hunger. Child, all these people unemployed, but you never employed nobody. Oh, come on now. Or you employ them, but you ain't paid them. You play with their money. You know what I'm saying? Hey, come on now. Come on now. You on a fast playing with folk money, playing with their stuff. Oh, come on now. Come on now. Don't go to nothing, but you can talk a good talk. But fasting is also walking a good walk. So here it is, feeding the hungry. Showing concern for those living in distressing conditions and situations of impoverishment. Why is it that dealing with some is get on some committees and some task force to deal with some of that, Dr. Daniel, Professor Schaefer? Hey, how do we back up our prayers with concrete actions of generosity, and instead of emphasizing fasting? You know what? I was thinking about that. Now, this is one thing. How about, church? How about, let's do this. I thought about this. I got an idea. How about during the 21-day fast? These are good for some pastors to try. Maybe just take a week out of the 21 days. How about during the Daniel fast of 21 days, everything that you as an individual denied yourself to eat, you brought to the church? What? Person, I ain't thought about that. Well, I can't have no bread. I like to, okay, well, how much bread would you have eaten? Bring that to the church. Just suppose everything you denied yourself for the 21 days or whatever, that the whole congregation brought it to the church. And then that committee gave it out to the community. Wow. Well, Brinson, we got to have a freezer. We're going to do a 21-day Daniel fast, and everything that you normally eat during this month. That's a good idea, Dr. Schaefer. Now, you can take it now, but I know some of you are pastors. Everything you ate, bring me a sample of everything you ate for the month. I want everybody in the congregation, we're going to have a 21-day drive of everything you normally eat. Whatever you eat, I want you to share with the church. Bring it. Now, once you bring it, put it together and fix it up and give it out to the community. Oh, wow. Wow. I got that idea that says, so instead of denying ourselves bread as an act of religious discipline, God emphasizes our sharing bread with those who are hungry. Well, I can't have no bread. Well, share it. Share the bread. Because now you see what it is to be without bread. Share the bread. Now, share the clothes. Share it. Providing shelter for the poor. So now, number one, loosing of the shackles and bonds of the wicked. I'm reading out of Isaiah 58. Number two, lifting of the yoke of oppression. Number three, feeding the hungry. Number four, providing shelter for the poor. That includes worship by finding ways to house the homeless. Number two, dealing with what caused homelessness, because there are a lot of people homeless got more degrees than you. What kind of economic, mental issue, whatever that called, got mad, whatever, got kicked out, lost their job, whatever the situations are, how are you in fact related to that? Clothing the naked, helping one's needy neighbor. True worship includes one not turning your back on your neighbor who is a portion of a material need or lack. So now it says this in the text. I thought about it. It says here, is it not Is it not to deal thy bread to the hungry, and that thou bring the poor that are cast out to thy house? When thou seest the naked, that thou cover him, and that thou hide not thyself from thine own flesh. Now let me say something about hiding thyself from thy own flesh. Back in those days, the only relationship community that people had was their family. So the family or the clan work with each other to support one another, to feed one another, to protect one another, to be related. And, you know, back in those days, it wasn't like now. Forget all y'all. I got my house. I got my, I got my Hulu. I can call Uber. I can call my, I can order in my food. I don't need nobody for nothing. It wasn't like that back in those days. Everything was related. You had children to help grow the food, help pay the bill. Everybody was related to somebody. So he says, how you going to be in the fast and living in isolation? What? How is that? How is that? No. You can't hide yourself from your flesh. For the people that's a part of your community, you hiding yourself. That's not a fast. You can't. You got to bring yourself in the community. And some of y'all need to get a fasting partner. Or have a corporate fast like the church, the community, the block club on your job. Get a group of y'all together. That's part of the ordained fast system. And so I thought I would bring that out. That was very interesting to me. So instead, fasting, what Isaiah begins to challenge us. And let me read something out of the commentary. I like what this writer said about fasting. He said, it is no longer the periodic fast days that serve to punctuate ongoing life. Instead, fasting is a new set of relationships within ongoing life. The fasting acceptable to God is a daily fast from domination, blaming others, evil speech, self-satisfaction, entitlements, and blindness to one's privilege. The fast that God seeks calls for vigilance, for justice and generosity daily, from day in and day out and day to day. Those who practice social justice are sure of God. If you practice it, I'm going to open up your light. Your light going to shine. Your light. Your healing, and you will protect. I'm going to protect you in the front, protect you in the back. I'm going to go before you, and I'm going to go behind you. Yes, something about God's glory. It protects you in the front, and it protects you in the back. You don't believe? Ask the children of Israel, when the glory of the Lord was in the day, it said the cloud went and stood before them to lead them out. And when Egypt and Pharaoh and them came after them, the cloud moved and went behind them to protect them. Somebody, I'm talking to somebody, you need a cloud, you need the Holy Ghost, you need the presence protecting you frontward and back. People say, I got your back, because they know about the backstabbers. I got your back because they know stuff slip in behind you. Well, no. So when you do the fast piece that God ordains, he said, my glory comes. The results of my glory comes, Pamela, Sister Pam. My glory comes as a ritual of fast. I get you. I got you in the front, and I protect you from the front, and I protect you from the back. I lead you and I guide you. And then what it says, this other part, I was like, wow. It said, then shall thy light break forth as the morning, and thine health shall spring forth speedily, and thy righteous shall go before thee, and the glory of the Lord shall be thy reward. Then thou shalt call, and the Lord shall answer. Thou shalt cry, and he shall say him, I still cry. You cry, he answered. Oh, no, because my fast is based upon how he said, hey, thy light shall break forth as morning. Here in the text, light and darkness. Light is symbolic of anything positive. It's the symbolic of positive things. It's symbolic of knowledge and information that becomes positive to help you on your journey. Negative, darkness is always negative. Darkness is always something that's dreadful. He said, look at here. when you do the fast that I've determined for you, your light shall break forth. It said, thy light, then shall thy light break forth as the morning, and thy health shall spring forth speedily. You know, when the morning comes, the sun peeps over the hemisphere, let there be light. Let there be wisdom. Let there be information. So you all that have chose to be on the Daniel fast, hey, where's your light? I want your light to come. Whenever you do fast, all these principles must be in your fasting. Where is the light? Where is the light? Dr. Maxwell Bishop, hey. Oh, come on now. So we're talking about Isaiah chapter 58. Those of you that want to stay on the go do that. So now we got to let the oppressed go free. We got to feed the hungry. We got to make that. God said, I'll answer your prayers. This is the fast that I've ordained. So those of us that have gone into the fast for the beginning of the year, I need you, whether it's the Daniel fast, the 7-day fast, the weekly fast, whether in 2023 you fast every Tuesday, the Tuesday is our prayer fast day. You know, I don't want you caught up in the ritualistic religious stuff. This is a ritual. No. I don't want the religious ritual stuff. I need you to look at a transformation activity that is called from the biblical narrative of Isaiah 58. Is this the fast that I have chosen? The fast that I've chosen. I chose a fast. Hey, let me go back over here because, I don't want to stumble over this. I'm going to read that one verse. I'm going to stumble. Is this the fast that I have chosen? Question. To loose the bands of wickedness, to undo the heavy burdens, and to let the oppressed go free, that you break every yoke. Question. The fast that you want, is that the fast that God has chosen? The fast that you want, are you in keeping with God's chosen fast to do these things? Oh, if so, then your light got to burst forth. When you pray, you call, he will answer. When you call on him, when you cry, he'll say, I'm here, I'll answer. Some say, Brinson, I've been calling on and heard him yet. Well, but I got to go do a fast, Brinson. Okay, but when you do the fast, make sure the principles is there. What are you doing? How are you being related? What is God calling you to be? What are you becoming? All that's important. And so I just wanted to take some time out, but I can go on and on and on and on and on. But in conclusion, we've got to understand that if God's people, let me read this in conclusion. If God's people will couple their fasting with lives of righteousness and love, then they would see the prayers answered. We would see our prayers answered. We will have lives full of light, full of healing, full of righteousness, full of glory, full of the Lord. When we call out to God, the Lord will answer. So this lesson today, as I close, is this the fast? God's ordained fast breaks yokes. God's blessings, even when you may experience darkness in the form of personal troubles or distress, you can rest assured that the situation will change. God will sustain and provide relief and cause you to experience light and brightness that otherwise would be no darkness. Thus, thick darkness and gloom arise and shine. God desires us to live right. We got to live upright and not participate in empty rituals. No empty rituals. So as we begin this new year of fasting, as we go through fasting throughout 2023, as your churches go on fasts throughout the year, as you also go on fasts designed throughout the year. Some of you do it once a week, twice a week. You have certain fast days. The Bible says you should fast and pray. Men should always pray. You should pray. And then when you fast and pray, there's certain things you need to do. But at the same time, the God-ordained fast is designed to break some things, to let some things go. And so that's why. And so on today, we're so glad. Well, my time is up. This has been your host, Apostle Dr. Sylvester Paul Brinson III, the Dean of the Brinson Connection. If you missed us, just hold on. You can scroll back on our page and get it. Or don't worry, just go to YouTube and go into YouTube and put into the search bar Dr. Sylvester Paul Brinson III and pick it up. We almost have about almost 180 teachings. This teaching will be on YouTube within the hour. You can pick it up anytime and go back and see it, or stay and go back on our page. But we thank God for what he's done. We thank God for who he is. Until next time, always remember, ask yourself the question, when the question comes up about fasting, whether it's the Daniel fast, whether it's the 7-day fast, whether it's a 3-day fast, whether it's a 40-day fast, whatever the fast is that you, your church, your community has designed to be a part of, I need you to make sure that in that fasting, that is not ritualistic, but that yet is simplistic enough to combine Isaiah chapter 58. This is the type of fast God has chosen. So whatever fast you have chosen, make sure it incorporates what God wants you to do while on that fast, so you can reap the benefits of what God say he will do if you do a God-chosen fast. So remember, God-chosen fast breaks every yoke.